Tersh, just so you know, I went live.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Thanks.
We'll let everyone get a few minutes to join in here while Tersh is fixing his pistol.
Oh, yes, and framing that too.
Yeah.
Good job, Josh.
Take a screenshot. This is what Tersh threatens me with every time we're on a podcast episode.
Yeah. Better act right, Josh.
He's like, I'm going to come through the screen, and if you don't behave and you don't stop making fun of me, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to cap your ass.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to the people that are starting to jump in here. We're going to get started in just a minute or two. Let everyone have a chance to jump in, and we'll get this party started. Feel free to let us know while you're jumping in here, what the weather's like where you're at, because we got some wild weather in the U.S. right now. So let us know. Is it snowing? Are you dealing with wildfires? Is it colder than normal, warmer than normal? What is it like in your market?
What's the weather like in Arizona?
It's actually, well, I'm going to sound like a baby. It's cold here. It's like 60.
Oh.
I'm like, my all day though, I've been like, because we always keep the windows open during the day because the sun's out. And I'm like,
you can close the window.
We could, but we won't. So,
check out this mug we have here. So it's got the Service Business Mastery podcast on one side, Trade Automation Pros on the other. This is a giveaway. Well, not this one because I'm drinking out of it, but.
If you ask the best question today, Tersh will personally hand deliver this to your door. He's not going to ship it. He's going to personally hand deliver it to your door.
I will mail it to you.
Cheap ass.
Cheap. Ain't got nothing to do with being cheap. They might be in Spokane, Washington. Maybe like a 12,000 hour flight.
That would be a few flights for you. Coming out of Charlotte, it would be like 6 flights for you. Oh, Gary's got some snow in North Texas. Okay. Man, you never know what you're going to get in North Texas. Like the last couple of years, like I don't remember, was it 2 years in a row? But it was like 2 or 3 years ago. It was like ice storm. And like all of Facebook was freaking out.
Oh man.
all of our friends in Dallas, Fort Worth and stuff.
With Roger Wakefield.
Yeah.
He was talking about the plumbers that they brought in, like from other states. They like reciprocated the plumbing license so that you could get you a Texas plumbing license without having to take the test or something. I don't remember. He actually said something about they changed it or something. I don't remember, but
yeah.
Anywho, is anybody in this chat that's on right now? Are any of you going to be in Colorado Springs next week? We're going to be at an event there. Or are you going to any events this spring-ish, winter?
Yeah, drop those events in the chat. We're going to be at BDR Spark next week, AHR Expo a couple weeks after that in Orlando. Yep. And then we're going to be in Vegas for Rilla and their event. And then we're going to be back in Orlando in March for Epic. So...
Wow, this chat is alive.
Thank you, Gary, for keeping us alive here. Well, Gary, I guess we're going to talk to you today, and we're going to do what we can to help you start integrating automation and AI into your business. And everyone else, well, sorry. Oh, there we go. We got at least someone. We got LinkedIn. Okay. How can we use AI to get leads? Okay, awesome.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started. And then feel free as we're doing this, guys, put your questions in the chat as they come up. We are not going to answer them immediately. We will get to them at the end. So stick around to the end and we will make sure that we get all of your questions answered.
Yeah. Hey, Amy from Florida. Josh.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize you clicked screen. Obviously, we're practicing this. Doing 2 people in a presentation is a lot harder than it looks. Just so you guys know.
When you're next to each other in person, it's not terrible.
Yeah, I can just take my take Tersh's knife out and I can shiv him and he'll move the slide. So, all right. So what are you going to get out of this presentation today? It's obviously the reason you're here is to try to get something from it. So there's going to be a few things that you're going to get and leave this presentation with. So you're going to leave with a guide for your AI automation journey. I hope it's very obvious that we are those guides, but if not, we'll hopefully point you in the right direction to someone who's smarter than we are. You're going to get your next steps if you are an advanced user. If you're new to AI and automation, we're going to get your first step. So don't worry, you're in the right place. We're going to get you, it says 6, but I think we have like 10 different tools on here. So we're going to give you our favorite tools and how we use them. All of these tools that we are going to talk about today, we use in either Tersh's business, my business, or a combination of our businesses. So these are all pre-vetted. We use them all the time. We're going to give you a clear path forward and a community to get answers to your most pressing questions.
All right. So what's the biggest challenge that you with your client journey that you face today? As we move forward, every time we implement something new in our business, and I know Josh is similar in this fashion, we like to try it out as the client and see the pain points, see those types of issues that might arise. A lot of times people don't do that, and you just like implement something new, and it's like something new on top of something that's relatively new, and you have just compounding effect. So like your long-term clients, they all know exactly what you're talking about, and they know what to do because they've been there along the way. But then you get a new client in the door, and all of a sudden it's like roadblock. I don't know what to go. I don't know where to go. So I challenge you to do that. If you implement anything new that's client facing, to try it out for yourself too. Josh, you got anything there?
No, but please. So when we ask these questions,
yes,
it's a little different when we've done this in person where people can raise their hand and kind of shout things out. Please feel free to put that stuff in the chat as soon as it comes to your head. If you don't know what your biggest challenge is, put I don't know, because honestly, we're probably going to unlock some ideas and stuff for you later in this presentation today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to start by introducing Tersh. If you've never followed us, listened to our podcast, know anything about us, Tersh is actually really dressed down today because he's at home. Even though he's at home, he's still dressed like this. But this is how he dresses every single day. So you see him at literally we walk through. I remember the first event that we went to together, Service World Expo, like 3 or 4 years ago. We couldn't walk 10 feet without somebody commenting on Tersh's shoes, his attire, his hat, his fancy glasses that he wears that can like record conversations and stuff. So he dresses like this every single day. And because of the way he dresses, I am really trying to get a new hashtag to take off and a new nickname for Tersh called the Pod Father. So Tersh, for those that don't know, he's been podcasting since like 2016, 2017. So the way he dresses, the fact he's been doing it so long before everyone else came out with a podcast, I think it's cool. I think it's so if you guys share this today, share it with the hashtag Podfather, and then we can start getting that thing to take off. And then his AI has actually, because Tersh uses Zapier a lot, as both of us do, his AI is actually he asked his AI to name him, give him a name, and his AI named him Sir Zaps a lot. So
has anybody out there in the chat, have you asked your AI to name itself or you? If you have, share the name that it gave. It's always quite interesting, the names that it provides for the people after you've interacted with it for a while. It's kind of learned your personality. It's actually kind of scary how well it knows you. And I named mine Lexi, short for lexicon, which is, language. Lexi and Sir Zaps a lot. We have very, honestly, I'd say embarrassing conversations. I wouldn't want it to leak out onto the internet. How many times I've argued with Lexi. But 3 things that I'd like to tell you about Josh, though. He actually is significantly older than I am, and it shows on his beard that he's got there on his face, and our Bitmoji reflects him perfectly with his beard.
It actually outlines the beard way better than even in person.
He was a mechanic in the Air Force a long time ago, but he isn't even allowed to hang pictures at his house. So there's that. I mean, you got some F-16s that are flying around that were worked on by a guy that can't.
They're probably missing some screws right now.
Yeah. He's the founder of a massively successful digital marketing agency and an AI and automation agency. So if you're not familiar, he and his lovely wife founded Relentless Digital, and the AI and automation agency that I was speaking of is called Trade Automation Pros, which created a product called PhoneTap. All right, so we're going to begin with the end in mind. I want you to write down one thing or share in the chat bar one thing that you're hoping to get out of this presentation. Maybe it's a tool, maybe it's an automation, maybe it's a tactic or a strategy to close more deals, or maybe you just want to stay in touch with your customers more effectively. Our goal is to answer all of these questions by the end of this presentation.
So obviously, the best time to start learning AI was just about 2 years ago. I don't remember the exact date. It was right around this time frame in 2022 when AI ChatGPT really burst onto the scene. Mm-hmm. Tersh, what's the second best time?
Second best time is right now. It's never too late to start, but I definitely wouldn't put my head in the sand.
Yeah. So the thing to take away from this is it's okay if you're not an advanced user and you see people talking about stuff on the internet and you're like, I have no idea, I'm freaking out that I'm way behind. It's okay. And that's what we're telling you. It's okay. And it's okay to ask questions and to be vulnerable in this situation. So that way you can get the answers that you deserve for your business and your people. But so next we're going to transition into understanding today's customer journey, because it's very important for you to be able to build a journey for your customers. But customers have changed a lot. I mean, think of the things that have happened in the home service industry. COVID, we'll get to some other things, but it's changed a ton. But in order to understand today's customer, we have to go back in time and understand where we came from. And this next slide has literally physically given Tersh nightmares.
Anybody who has been a technician when the pagers were around, you know exactly what I'm talking about whenever I say I've had nightmares with this. I literally have woke up out of the dead of sleep swearing that the pager was going off, and I was freaking out because I just knew that I had missed a client's phone call, and I was about to get in trouble. I remember dreaming about that beep 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 beep. It was just absolutely terrible. This here is kind of been replaced now with Slack. Like that's the pager is the OG Slack. So yeah,
ping, ping, ping.
Right. Yeah. All night long, all day long. Yeah. So some of you are out there, you're on a laptop, you're on a computer. Some of you are going to be on your phone. I remember thinking back, Josh and I were talking about this a while back, but a couple of weeks ago, my teacher, Ms. Arnstorff, she gave me a lot of grief about my dependence on a calculator. And she's like, you're not going to carry that thing around in your pocket the rest of your life. And I was like, I really do not want to learn the Pythagorean theorem, and she was like, you got to learn it. You got to memorize it. Well, did you know, we got that whole computer in my pocket now.
Yeah.
Some of you are on a supercomputer and you're watching this, but this next slide is going to be the OG of those.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys are even old enough to remember what one of these looks like and use these. But if this was the first modern personal computer, and if your computer couldn't handle whatever job that you were trying to figure out, you had to call for help on one of these?
Yes, it's this is great. So I was watching a TikTok video. It's been a couple months ago now, where these parents took their teenage sons and put them in a room and like gave them a certain amount of time and said, if you could dial our phone number using this rotary phone, I'll give you $100. And they put like all the like cousins, like one at a time in there, and one of them figured it out within that like 5-minute time frame or whatever. And it was pretty wild. And I would say it's actually very intuitive of those teenagers, because they had never seen this machine before, and they figured it out that fast within like a minute or 5 minutes, whatever it was. But that was pretty cool. Pretty cool deal though. So the next slide here is actually we're lucky. The human innovation struck again, and we went from this rotary phone, or one that was hanging on the wall that had like a 3,000-foot long cord that you would carry all over the house, to this next
Well,
thing.
my favorite was when you would extend the cord and the cord would never go back to its original size, and
like,
it just got longer, and then would get all tangled up, and then you could never get it untangled.
Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah.
But luckily, innovation struck, and we have these monstrosities. I don't know. I think our age group, Tersh. So first of all, it was 2 truths and a lie. The lie was that I'm older than Tersh. I'm not, just so you guys all know. It's true. True story. I'm not older than him. So yeah.
You just have not aged very well.
Anyways, these were like some of the first cell phones that came out. And honestly, if you're like a rich business person, did you ever have one of these things? These were not for like the normal common folk.
Mm-hmm.
But
dude, we had the bag phone that you would swap from vehicle to vehicle and put it in the cigarette lighter, which was kind of awkward when I was riding with grandma, because she smoked. And so she was like, unplug that phone and put my cigarette lighter in there.
Well, luckily, again, we're showing the difference of technology over the years. This next slide, research shows, and most of you guys are familiar with this because you're watching us virtually, that Zoom was invented in 2011. But Tersh and I dug really, really, really deep into some archives, and we found the first official Zoom call.
Yep, 1973. And crazy thing about this, they are all looking right at the screen, the camera. They're all centered. They've done a great job with centering their images,
which is crazy. Like right before this presentation, because I have 2 different webcams. I have one that I actually like drops down to look right at you guys. Otherwise, if I'm looking at my screen, I would look like I'm looking down. This is apparently the Brady Bunch had it right about 50 years ago. They
figured it out. So now we're going to transition to talk a little bit about AI, because that's what everybody's here.
Yeah, so that's where we came from. That's what your customers dealt with over the years. And you guys, some of you guys have been in business long enough, you know what that has been like for you. And everything was phone call, right? But today, customers are very quickly adapting to AI. And for example, ChatGPT, just ChatGPT, of all the AI tools, just that one has over 300 million weekly users. Mm-hmm. Think about that. 300 million. There's only like 300. Now, these aren't all US based users, mind you, but there's 330 million people in the US. So think about that. And then one other really fun fact that I think is interesting is that ChatGPT processes over 1 billion messages per day.
That's crazy.
This technology is 2 years old.
That's
and people
wild.
have adopted it very quickly. So this is not just the future. This is the present as well.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet that 500 million of them are Josh just spell checking things and being told over and over again, no, Josh, we can't do that. We can't do that either. Can't do that. So the modern customer is they are over 43% of the home buyers are millennials, making them the largest age group of home buyers at this time, which is kind of wild. The average American has 17 to 19 loyalty program memberships. So just keep that in the back of your mind whenever we're talking about membership programs and for your, I don't want to call it, for lack of better terms, maintenance program. or your membership program is what we would call it. If you've followed the podcast, you've heard us have extensive conversations with Billy Stevens about doing away with a maintenance program and implementing a membership program. But some people have been hesitant to that. Just keep in mind that the average American has 17 to 19 of these membership programs. And then a fun fact is 98% of all internet statistics are made up per George Washington, probably.
Man, I wish we could see you guys like this was like a Zoom webinar, so we could actually see your faces, see if anyone's even laughing at all of our dumb jokes. Because otherwise, it's really to sit here and get crickets in the chat,
it.
and then be like, "Wow, man! I hope people don't think we're real dumbasses here."
You know,
so,
hey,
somebody said it was a good one. All right, thank you, Andrew.
Well, I
appreciate
regret. I had I didn't purchase a 2025 calendar, but I had a 2024 desk calendar that gave a daily dad joke, which is such an unfortunate thing. I actually was honored and blessed to go through the checkout line. You know, you go through some of those retail stores, and the checkout line has all these knickknacks that you buy. Well, guess what? Found Josh, the old easy button that's actually dad jokes. So
I will say, of all the things you've ever gotten me, Addie loves that. Our 14-year-old, she hits it all the time when she's at dinner. Yeah, she's like, "Why does it play that one all the time? I want it to play a different one."
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Doug, I don't know. George Washington Tersh does. He's a lot, like I said, he's a lot older than I am. I don't know how old he is. He might be an alien. I don't know. But
yeah, did you know he had like wooden teeth? Yeah. Anyways.
Oh my God. Anyways, so Tersh went over and I think something we glossed over a little bit, but over 43% of home buyers are millennials. So the people that we always used to make fun of, right? Because, well, actually, Tersh and I are both millennials too. We're old millennials. But
I still make fun of you.
The media and Gen X and boomers always made fun of us for being whatever they thought we were. But we are the modern customer. The older millennials are buying more expensive homes. The younger millennials are getting into their first or second home. And even Gen Z, the older Gen Z, is into home buying now. They're like young 20s. So we have to really think about our businesses from what the modern customer wants, which is that age group. And the modern customer wants online booking, fast response times, texting versus talking on the phone. Like, I literally had a conversation right before this webinar that the guy, he sold his HVAC contract, but he's like, nobody ever wants to answer the phone. And now you can even tell if it's, it could be spam on the phone. So people are definitely not answering the phone now. They want appointment updates and regular reminders because they, like, every business I schedule with, I get a appointment reminder on my cell phone, and I just throw it into my calendar, and then it's always there. They want upfront online pricing before they do business, or they want some sort of idea what that price is going to look like. Digital payments and estimates. It's like the days of paper tickets are gone.
I interviewed I interviewed a young lady, and she was taking over the operations management side of things. It was a family-run business, and I think I had 250 technicians, and they are still on paper, the 3-layer paper, and they're transitioning over into the digital world. And
I couldn't imagine being the VA or whoever they hire to enter all the paper tickets into their system.
Man, the handwriting, I can't. I remember being a service manager and reading the tickets the next morning and thinking to myself, goodness, I'm glad they're good at working on air conditioning units.
We had he was one of our best service technicians. His name was Murray. We called him Dr. Murray because nobody could read his damn tickets. I had to call him all the time and be like, "Hey, Murray, what does that say? I don't understand what this was." So it is a good thing that we're transitioning this way for some things.
Yeah.
But then obviously customers also want the days of word of mouth and referrals from like your neighbor or your friends and family. That still happens, but it happens a lot less. They look for now strong reviews and social proof online.
Yeah. And some of those word of mouth things, they like, that's your Facebook groups and all of those programs that are specifically for that. Love them or hate them.
Yep. So let's talk about some pain points in the traditional process.
Some of these pain points, the communication issues, slow response times, large booking windows with no updates. So, we've all gotten that notification that you have to sign
Cable
for this
guy's coming
document.
between 8 and 5 today.
Yeah, and then he doesn't even show up that day. It doesn't call. Yep. There's no notification. I thought the greatest thing since sliced bread was whenever I got the CRM that as soon as we hit dispatch, then it automatically sent a text message and an email to the homeowner or the business owner if it's a commercial job, and they could follow our technicians around like the Uber. Yeah, like man, that thing was slick.
Like the Domino's pizza tracker or something like
that. Or like
Uber.
Yeah, whatever. Like Domino's, it's like 30.
I'm sorry. I'm showing your age. Domino's. Well, no, I'm craving Domino's because I'm on 75 hard and eating carnivore diet, so I can't have any carbs. So I'm craving that right now. So don't throw a pizza in my face.
Yeah. Another thing that's really big is technical jargon. So no one wants to sound dumb or like have that conversation with a technician and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Rarely will they say, hey, dumb that down for me. They're just going to be like, no. And so there's a few platforms where there's actually a custom GPT that I built that automatically takes the invoice summary that a technician normally would write out, and it writes it at an 8th grade comprehension level, and it also removes all industry jargon, and it'll ask the technician questions if it's not clear, so that it gets a very clear value statement and adds tons of value. And unexpected charges pricing, that's not new. That's always been there. Like nobody likes that. And lack of follow up. So never hearing back from the contractor after the work is complete. I've been guilty of that. It's like, I will say that I do have a little asterisk system in our CRM. If we don't want to call them back, they're going to have a couple asterisks next to their name.
Is that the skull and crossbones emoji?
Yeah, it's actually, if you ever if I ever share Josh's contact information with anybody, just ignore the asterisks and the skull and crossbone. He is a do not answer on all of my call systems. But inconsistent client experience or customer experience. There's something to be said about continuity of care, and while you can't always send the same technician to the same house, there are situations that there are things you can use with technology that will make that customer experience extremely consistent across several technicians.
Yeah. So with that, we talked about inconsistent experience, not following up with customers after we've done business with them. So, and Tersh did a really good job of this is an AI generated image, which looks absolutely fantastic. It's actually better than anything we found on the stock image sites. But essentially your business, the customers and leads that come in your business, I liken it to a bucket of water, right? If your bucket doesn't have any holes in it, you don't really have to go get new customers. And we all know new customers are super, super expensive. It's only like local service ads. It's insane. Like local service ads 5 years ago was like $25 a lead. Now it's 100, 125, 150. And those leads sometimes aren't that great. So the problem is, and this is not just specific to the trades, but it is probably even more pressing to the trades, especially with some of the demand seasons, whether you're in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, you all have some seasons where things pick up and slow down, and your business is leaking. You just don't know it's leaking. You're not following up with leads. You're not following up quickly enough. You're not following up with open estimates, or you only follow up once or twice because somebody has to manually pick up the phone and do it. And you can't automate that process. And what happens is, and on top of that, if a customer bought from you, they never hear from you again. It's like, oh, thanks for your money. Call me next time, maybe. Yeah. And you let it sit there, and it causes a lot of, I mean, think about it. Think about the companies you do business with. Even though you may not open all their emails or their text messages or whatever, it is nice to hear from them once in a while that they actually appreciate the fact that you purchased from them. And
Dude,
these are the types.
Do you remember when? I mean, I know we all remember when COVID came around, and it wasn't a fun time. But how many people got an email from every single business they've ever interacted with, telling them we are COVID compliant or whatever? I remember getting, man, I must have got 100 emails a day with just somebody saying we're COVID compliant or we've updated our whatever policies and procedures. And I'm like, gosh, I don't care. I didn't like you back then. I don't like you now, whatever.
Yeah. So now that we've discussed, and the reason we kind of want to agitate some of the pain points, because hopefully when we say these things, you guys are either virtually shaking your head or like, oh yeah, that's, I've experienced that, or I have that issue or whatever, because we want to try to solve some of these problems. Now, today's webinar, we're going to solve some of these with AI tools that Tersh, or AI and automation tools that Tersh and I have both either used in our businesses or know a lot of people that have used and have solved challenges. And so our first solution is
well, the problem first off is answering services traditionally. I will not read what I just wrote down. It sucks. It's not.
You should totally read that.
No,
can I read it?
No, don't read that. We're not trying to violate any terms and conditions on YouTube. So the problem that we're having is missed calls, and one of the solutions that we use personally. Now, there's several solutions out there, but this is the one that we use. No, the carpet repair guys like read it. No, definitely we're not reading it. Is Avoca. So Avoca.ai is a product that we use personally. And
Tersh, so why did you decide that you wanted to work with Avoca? What was the problem?
Well, so one of the issues that I was having with my company personally was the fact that we had after hours call centers, and the next morning we would always listen to the phone calls, as painful as that is. Sometimes we would listen to the phone call, and then, man, it's Service Emperor. That's the name of our company. And I understand that you're a call center and you're going to have to answer the phone call for several different companies. But they 60% of the time got our name wrong. More often than not, the person it would ring for 2 to 3 minutes before they ever picked up the phone. And even then they might sit on hold for 4 or 5 minutes, especially during the high demand season, the peak time of the year. And I was like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I love Tyson and I love Avoca. People were giving me kind of some slack, because this has been, we've been using Avoca since they first came out. And there were hiccups, but people were giving us crap about it. And I was like, look, man, her name's Sarah. If Sarah just says the name of the company correctly and gathers the client's information, they're doing better than the call center that we're paying triple what it would cost us for Avoca. So we definitely took off with it.
Before we move to the next one, share the story. You did a service call at a place. Do you remember that story? We didn't prompt it. This isn't planned. You shared a story about how good Sarah, the Avoca agent, was on the phone, and you were out at a service call and somebody asked you about Sarah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I was doing a follow-up call, kind of like a happy call, but it was with a longtime client of ours. So I went out there personally to take a look at it, and it was a doggy daycare. And after I went through everything and had a pretty long conversation with the manager, she was very thankful for just how well accepted she is every time she's called, because they call a lot because they have several locations and they have dogs, and so there's dog hair in all the filters, dryers, air curtains, everything. So there's never any kind of she never gets any slack from anybody from the company because they're calling us back out there to fix something or to clean something. And so she was like, here, does such and such have a dog or a cat? Here's some treats and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, what about Sarah? And I was like, at first I was like completely dumbfounded and like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to say, hey, we don't have a Sarah at our company. I didn't want her to feel bad or anything. And then she looked at me and she was like, you know, the lady that I always talk to whenever Haley's not there. And I was like, bro, I am still confused. And then it just clicked. She was talking about Sarah from Avoca, our AI assistant, our agent. And I was like, oh, no. That's an AI voice agent. And she was like, I never have long conversations, but I feel like I had a conversation with her even recently. And I was like, it's crazy how good they sound. Like they sound really human, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. And the technology is changing a lot. And I actually, quick story, I had a plumber recently send me a screenshot. It was on a Saturday or Sunday. He sent me a screenshot because he knows that we talk about this stuff a lot and we're really interested in it. That his Avoca agent, he didn't give me the name of it, so I don't have a fun story with the name, but his Avoca agent booked a call. It was on the weekend, and the process is to ask where they found the customer, and they filled out that they found this plumber on ChatGPT. So if your head has been in the sand, or you just haven't, like, you've been so busy it's been hard to pay attention to, I am telling you, this stuff is changing, whether you believe it or not. So it's better to at least have your antenna ears up and paying attention than put your head in the sand, because I'm not saying we have to completely revolution change your business today, but this stuff is happening whether you like it or not. And Josh, we want to make sure that you're well equipped.
You're a digital marketing agency, or you own a digital marketing agency. Let me ask you this question. You don't have to answer it right now, but maybe I'll put a bug in your ear for later in the conversation. In the presentation, because you focus on SEO, like that's your thing, the organic search. How do I get ranked in ChatGPT first?
Right now,
you can answer that, right?
Yeah.
You can answer that later. Answer that.
I might do a video on that. Actually,
do a video.
That's actually a great topic.
Well, good news is, Josh, we're actually doing a video right now.
I'm not doing it on this one. So this is something, and I'm drawing on my days back in 2013 and 2016. My first home service company I worked at, we had a DOS-based computer system. Like you couldn't even use the mouse, and nobody remembered which keys.
F10.
Yeah, you had to use like the keyboard to do everything, and nobody knew how to operate the system properly. And we didn't know what the techs were doing. We didn't even have a playbook.
Desco. Was it Desco that you were using?
We're using Desco. Yeah.
Yeah, Desco. That's what we were using too.
So Doug Wyatt's in the chat, and he's a great trainer for like CSRs and technicians and stuff like that to run a play, right? To run the play.
As a matter of fact,
yeah,
a little wordsmithing going on here.
Hopefully we're not failing, Doug. Just don't let us know if we are, please.
Yeah.
So with that being said, one of the biggest holes in home service businesses is the fact that we have zero insight into what is happening once the technician gets to the door, opens the door, talks to the customer. We have zero insight. Are they running the play? Are they making sure our companies looks good, like are saying nice things? Are they giving out their business card that they're trying to start on the side, which Tersh has had that happen too?
Yeah,
so
they did.
Things like that. There's no visibility. And that is a major pain point. But luckily, we have a solution for that as well.
So, Rilla, there's products out there. Rilla happens to be friends of ours and a company that we use personally. We use it inside Service Emperor. We get to play with all the fancy new gadgets every time that they come out with something new, and we get to demo it. I will share a story really fast. When we started using Rilla, crazy conversation. So my technicians, they all are really good or bad, however you want to say it, about listening to the CSR's conversation with the client. There's notes already populated into the system, into the CRM, and that can be done automatically too with some automations if you want to learn how to do that. But they still tend to listen to the conversation just to get the tone of voice and all of that stuff. And once we introduced Rilla, they were like, "Oh, well, I don't know about that." And I'm like, "Dude, this is for you. This is your training tool." And so they did it, and maybe there was some hesitation to start with, but then after this happened, everybody was completely on board with doing it to CYA. Honestly, so we had this lady that moved into town. Now, where we live, the houses, like we have a ranch style. I live in a ranch style house with one air conditioning unit. Might be 3,500 square foot, one air conditioner or two air conditioning units. It's common to have one or two air conditioning units. It's not common to have 5 of them here. Not a lot of houses around here have 5 air conditioning units in the main house. Well, this lady moved into a house, had 5 units, and we went out to do this a tune-up visit, and she asked if we would give her air filters, include the air filters in her membership. And no, that's not going to happen. We're more than happy to give it to you at a discounted rate, but we are. It's $95 for a membership. We're not going to give you 5-inch media filters, by the way. They were that costs
more than the membership.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. Now we do charge for tune-ups, just so you keep that clear there. We don't lose money to go to somebody's house. But we get to the house. Now, she asked repeatedly on a recorded phone call. The technician listened to the phone call because, like I said, they have a really good habit of listening to the conversations. They get to the house, and the lady was like, "Hey, your person in the office said that you were going to give me filters, but you didn't bring any." And then he's like, "Whoa, no, we don't do that. That's not our policy. I'm more than happy to have them shipped to you. If you want to pay for them, I can order them for you. I can give you a link to it. We actually have a link on our website where you can order. You can go shopping on our website." And she was adamant about the fact that the office said no, that we would provide them for free. Now, this entire conversation is recorded, and he was way more patient than I would be personally, but he stood his ground and said, "Look, you're more than welcome to call the office, speak with the owner, speak with the manager, whatever. But I'm not authorized to give you these filters for free. I can give you a discount, and that's it. And because we have a membership discount." And she called the office back and thought she was talking to someone different. She actually was talking to Julie, my wife, and she was like, "Yeah, your technician said that he was going to order them for me, but they haven't showed up, and y'all were going to give them to me for free." Or actually, she said, "They haven't shown up yet." And she said, "Oh, I don't see where you've paid for it." And she said, "Well, the technician said that it would be no charge." And she's like, "Well, that's weird. That's really against our policy." And she said, "Well, even the person in your office said that." We're like, "Oh, this is really weird." So we would go back and listen to the conversation, and she calls back this young lady, and is like, "Look, I actually went back and listened to the conversation that you had with our technician." And she's like, "What do you mean?" "Well, we told you that all interactions with Service Emperor may be recorded for quality assurance and training purposes. And that includes when you interact with technicians." And that entire conversation was recorded, and we listened to it multiple times and can tell when he said, "No, we don't do it for free. We're not giving it to you for free." And the lady just dropped it instantly. She went into the conversation going to bully her way through and started saying, like, "I'd hate to leave y'all a bad review because y'all are lying to me," and stuff like that. And then she immediately dropped it. And so not only is this a great sales training tool for your technicians and your comfort specialists and people that are in the home, but it's also a good CYA tool as well.
Yeah, no, and I've had situations. I remember one back in professional services where there was a single lady that we went to, and we were very thorough about showing if cracked heat exchangers, having the camera, doing the whole thing to make sure it was actually a legit cracked heat exchanger. We just had a lot of Carrier and Bryant units back that was installed in the 90s, which if any of you guys are in HVAC, you know that those are ripe for the picking for cracked heat exchangers. And so she was she literally thought we were trying to take advantage of her, even though we went through all of these things. But at that point, we didn't have technology like this to have that. So we got a 1-star BBB rating, even though we had the service manager, the owner, literally rip the thing open and show her where it was. She thought we were just trying to sell her a new unit. And that kind of stuff is why people are, I don't want to say they're crazier and crazier, but it feels that way sometimes. You see all the stuff that's out there on TikTok.
Well, as an owner, as an owner and a manager, 9 times out of 10, if a client came to me with this information just to save face, I'd be like, just give her the filters. You know what I mean? I don't have a leg to stand on at this point. Well, now I do. I have a hill that I'm on that I can die on. So let's keep moving. Yeah.
So another big pain point. So we talked calls are recorded and stuff like that, but I don't know if any of you have ever had to go back through a ton of phone calls and
painful
listen to them and actually verify the information is accurate, because the FSM programs, the field service management programs in the trades, had the bright idea that we should give the CSRs who are in charge of their metrics and their phone calls the authority to change what they think is a lead and not a lead, which can drive up their booking rate, even though, because they can just say, well, it was an excused call, or it wasn't an actual lead. The problem is you as the business owner are paying sometimes thousands, sometimes tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month to people like myself and Google and other avenues like Meta and Facebook. But you don't know what your actual true booking rate is. And luckily today, just like we've shown you before, there are tools and solutions out there so you can dial in exactly to the minute what your booking rate is, not only by your company, but by agent, and then ideally be able to also escalate and automate tasks after that.
Yeah, and 2 of these products here are what we have on the screen. The carpet repair guys. They mentioned our partners on the side of our presentation over here. We look like a NASCAR sponsor, driver, and it's kind of funny because I've said that myself too. And these aren't necessarily sponsors. These are actually people that we trust, know, like, and trust, and are partnered with.
That's what I mentioned at the beginning of this, that all of these yes, they are partners, but we use these products every day.
Yeah.
So
100%.
we would never, that's one thing that was really important to Tersh and I, as our podcast started taking off and getting a lot of traction, is that we want to shine light on the things that most people don't even know are available, because a lot of this stuff comes in through the media, because these companies are trying to get the word out about their products, but they don't have the audience and things that we have through the podcasts and our businesses. And a lot of people, we bring this stuff up, they're like, and honestly, they start coming to us like, hey, and these are just a few of the products we use. We use a ton in our businesses. Yeah. What do you have something for this? I literally had someone reach out to me, hey, what do you use for a recording videos, a prompter, like a teleprompter app, just things like that. Tersh and I have literally this massive inventory of things that we know are good and bad, because they work or don't. And a lot of people use this as we talked about in the beginning, that guide for those questions, because they don't want to sit through 15 demos to make a decision and try to implement the technology. They just want to go right to the one that they know somebody else has used and works, and they get right to the finish line. Yeah,
100%. So Lace and Phone Tap are very similar, but they're also very different from each other. If you have 4 CSRs or more, Lace is going to be your ideal product to use. If you have less than 4 CSRs, then Phone Tap is going to be a good tool for you to use. Now they both do similar things as far as automating responses, and then instantly, as soon as the phone call ends, then runs that transcription through AI tools and will then notify
Essentially,
you
it
why.
classifies it. Yeah, and honestly, PhoneTap came out of a need from, so with Relentless Digital, my company, we have a human team that does call tagging, listening, puts it into a nice report for clients, so that way we can have constructive conversations around like operational issues or operational wins with our clients. And the problem is just our team, even when we're like really dialed in, we're like 5 days behind tagging calls just because there's so many of them and we can never really keep up. So the goal was to come some instantaneous call analysis. So that way, you know how many calls you got, how many of those were qualified leads, how many of those were booked, so you know your booking rate. And then of course you can really start to understand what's working. And then ideally start breaking that stuff into channels of like, hey, Google Business Profile is booking at this rate, Google Ads this rate. So you can really start understanding what's working and not in your business. But then the other thing, because Tersh and I love automation so much, is we wanted to be able to escalate qualified leads that were not booked. Because if we're 5 to 7 days late in tagging these things, which it's great for the month-end reporting call, but for your business to actually recapture that opportunity, you can't. It's too late.
Yep, it's money right out the window.
And it's just you like that money button today. It's just like lighting that $100 bill on fire, right? So, and that's really why these tools and why these solutions, why we're bringing them to you guys, because these things these 3 or 4 things that we've talked about are going to make the biggest impact to your bottom line, because your team is going to get better. You're going to enhance the abilities of your human team.
Yeah. And to be 100% clear and transparent, if you didn't pick up on it already, PhoneTap is a product that Josh and I developed. And so that is our product. And please don't take it that we're pushing a product on you. It's just like Josh said, there was a need and we wanted to build something to fulfill that need in the industries. So Joshua,
we talked about that bucket of leads.
Yeah.
And this is by far one of the biggest problems that contractors face is they get leads from everywhere. Referral, Facebook groups, Google Ads, that's PPC is the same thing, LSA, Google Business Profile, Angie, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, networks, Nextdoor, like literally it's just like there's tons and tons and tons of these. That doesn't include even like text message and emails and
not only that, like Meta. Oh my gosh. You get a notification somewhere that you got a lead and then it's hidden somewhere inside of a Meta somewhere. You have to like search for it. It's terrible.
Well, then you got to have multiple inboxes, right? Because everything's disconnected and disjointed. You got to have a multiple inboxes to manage all these things. So it's funny because the carpet repair guys, I wish I knew your real name because I'd use it. You said earlier that I run LSA all day, every day for $175 a click, and I'm charging $100 to go do the service. Yeah, we've all been there. So definitely take a look at this. Yeah, and this is something that Relentless has developed. There are other options out there, Chirp, Hatch. Those are 2 of the other ones that I know of. There's probably other ones, but Bullseye Pro is something that we've developed for our customers and then also for people that don't work with us on the marketing side to automate lead management, bring everything into a central inbox. There's some AI bot technology in there to help book appointments and stuff that we're working on. But the goal is, if you don't have, whether it's Bullseye Pro or whether it's Chirp or Hatch, you really should have something that automates and brings in all of your leads to one place, because I know we've referenced them as CRMs, like the Service Titans, the House Call Pros, all these, they're field service management softwares. They're not really a true CRM. A CRM is a customer relationship management tool, and these don't really do a great job of that. So you need something when your leads come in to be able to nurture them, to be able to follow up with them automatically. So when a job closes, estimates still open, we're sending out nurture stuff for the next. I mean, CEO Warrior, there used to be Mike A had a 365-day follow-up thing. You remember that, right?
Oh yeah.
But follow up with those customers until they say no or until they unsubscribe, because
now, do you have the ability to do that inside of Bullseye Pro?
You can follow up until
automated
customer dies.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it can be automated
as long as you want. Obviously, we got to set up the campaign that way, but yeah, you can do that as long as you want.
Cool. So in the beginning of this presentation, we said that we would share 6 tools with you. So here's the next slide with those tools.
Those tools and some other ones.
And then some, yeah. So we actually, we talked about Avoca, we talked about Phone Tap, Lace, Rilla, Zapier. I mentioned Zapier a little bit. That is like a bridge platform. If you're not familiar with Zapier, make.com, if this, then that. These are tools that, like, say you have a Service Titan CRM, or you had a House Call Pro or something like that, Sarah, and you want to connect that platform to, say, Google Forms or a Google Sheets or something like that, Google Drive. You would use Zapier to connect those, or make.com or something like that. WhoHire, it's really cool platform that has AI built into the hiring process. Josh has used it recently. You want to share a little bit about that story?
Yeah, we were going to hire an HR manager about 6 months ago, $75,000-ish position in our company, because hiring got to be so strenuous between my wife and myself. We would, all the different emails, and then you have Indeed, and you have all these different inboxes, similar thing to lead management, right? So WhoHire at its core is an applicant tracking system. It's like a CRM for your new applicants. But what it does is you can set up automation through the workflow, so that way, as soon as they send a resume, they're asked certain questions. If they say no to any of those first questions, they're automatically sent an email that they're disqualified like 6 hours later. It's all set up initially. You set up one time and it runs. Then it's just long form questions, one-way video interview questions. You could set up, and this is all customizable. So this is just the way we set up. So I know a lot. I've already seen them on camera. I've already seen how they think, because I've given them a couple questions to like kind of see their thought process.
Hold up. Did you just say you can see how they think? Does that mean you can see in their mind?
Wah, wah. Where's that button? And then at the end, obviously, you get to the interview portion. But then the nice thing is their resume, their answers to the questions, and all that stuff is stored in one place. So if I want to look at an applicant's stuff, I can review everything in one place. And they also have some AI stuff as far as like flight risk, if they're a good solution for your company, and it kind of gives them a score. It's called the Reggie Blueprint. I don't know how they do it, but they have someone that was really smart and has studied this stuff a long time.
Hey, Josh, I bet you $1 his name's Reggie.
I wish I could see everyone's faces and have see them rolling their eyes.
All right. So next.
Yeah. The only other tool we really have to share with you guys is Cast Magic. And in order for Tersh and I to do what we do with podcasting, webinars, video content, everything else that we do, we need a way to repurpose that content. And Cast Magic is like
the ultimate
tool for us.
Repurposing tool. A lot of times as a contractor, it's very difficult for us to get in front of the camera and just say, all right, here's my, TikTok short or TikTok video, or my short or my reel or a long form YouTube video, because it's sometimes it feels like a waste of time. But you can take and generate a long form video. You do, if you're an HVAC contractor, you're doing a full install and you're going through all the steps of what you're doing. And then you can actually chunk that thing right up into a Cast Magic and repurpose it. It'll also generate the title, show notes, the YouTube description, keywords to use for the video, and even some what are the little short sound bites called?
I can't think of it either. It's like little, it's not snippets. It's
like
audiograms.
Audiograms, that's it.
Yep.
So it'll create audiograms for you as well. And then what used to be Twitter threads, so like multiple Twitter tweets or X tweets, X's. No, so
O's. Maybe they're X's and O's. I don't know.
That's it, Josh. Good job. All right. So moving on now to the AI integration roadmap, Josh.
Yeah. So with this being said, obviously today we shared tools because honestly, some of that is the fastest way for you to solve problems in your business is to generate software tools. But Tersh and I, we have a full guide and course on how to integrate things on if you don't want to go spend money on these fancy tools and stuff, or if you can't afford that in your business, we can teach you how to do some of these, maybe not some of these things, but other things in your business to automate and then layer in AI like ChatGPT to that process so you can still get an output that's somewhat similar. Maybe it can analyze some things for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not gonna cost what some of these tools cost.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in conclusion, one of the two of us battle ADHD, dyslexia, and a speech impediment, and we can do these things. So I don't want you to let the fear of the unknown stop you from dominating the world of AI and automation for the trades. Just keep it in the back of your mind that if you ever need help with any of this, Josh and I as a tool. Josh is a tool. I'm your guide. And so just remember that, and we'll be good to go.
So this is, if you guys, for those that have stuck with it, which I think most of you guys have from the what we can see in our metrics here, this QR code is going to take you to our community and course. Mm-hmm. It's on a platform called School. It's away from the distractions of Facebook. Because Facebook is like the bane of most people's existence. You go in there for one thing and you get sidetracked with something completely different within about 5 seconds. But this QR code is going to have, we've tons of courses. We have CRM specific courses. We have courses on Zapier. We're building out some courses on make.com. We're also
Josh,
sharing.
Let me get this straight, Josh. We're watching this on our phone and we have to scan a QR code on our screen from our phone that we're watching this on.
This must be your slide. But the good news is
we'll send the links out to all these.
Yeah, it's school.com/automation-foundations.
Yeah,
that's easy. Automation Foundation is the name of the core community.
Absolutely. And if you happen to be on a desktop or a laptop and you want to scan these two QR codes, they take you to our link tree, which then sends you to all of our different places or social media posts. Platforms that we're on. So right now is obviously Q&A time. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat feed, and we are more than happy to help answer those questions.
We did have one back early on before we started asking for questions to use AI to get leads. First of all, you switched it so it's covered in my face.
What are you talking about?
I think the best advice I can give you is now with AI, we can put out a lot more content on a lot more networks. We talked about Cast Magic and being able to take one piece of audio or video and putting that on all the different networks. So you should be able to put out a lot more content and use AI. So you still have to use your human brain to like give value to your community, but then use that to get it out in all the places and get it out really fast and be able to generate more. Like there's probably some AI tools that go scrape a bunch of stuff and do that. First of all, I hate cold outreach, and I'm sure I know Tersh loathes cold outreach. So don't ever send him a cold outreach email. You might get a nasty reply.
Good news is it won't be me doing it. It'll be my AI assistant doing it.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do for using AI to generate leads is use it for ideation. I use ChatGPT a ton for ideas. Like, for instance, for like this webinar or other webinars or other conversations and talks that we've done, I use it to help me generate like 10 to 15 ideas. And then from those, I'll take like the 2 or 3 best ones and then I'll run with it. But use AI to enhance and make things faster for yourself. I don't think there's any AI that's automatically going to like put leads at your doorstep, if that makes sense.
Josh, we all see the post on Facebook, the ads. that are on any social media platform actually, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know how many leads I was missing until I used this AI tool, and it started generating $10,000 a day for me."
Feel free to invest in that if you want to lose your money.
Come on, Joshua.
Guys, thank you for hanging out with us today. If there's anything that we can help you with, we're very approachable. So reach out to us, and we'll get you connected with whoever and whatever problem you're facing in your business.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you hanging out with us. If you do have any questions in the future, though, don't hesitate to reach out to Josh or myself. You can email Tersh at Service Business Mastery or Josh at Service Business Mastery. And I'll take that back. Don't email Josh because he won't check it. Just you can email me, Tersh at Service Business Mastery, and I'm more than happy to send it to Josh. And we appreciate you hanging out with us. If you want this replay, it'll be emailed to you automatically as soon as we finish talking and close this out. We truly, from the bottom of our heart, we appreciate you being here, spending time with us. And allowing me to make fun of Joshua for an hour and 5 minutes.
Thanks, guys.